Hey, look, man, what's going on, good people, man? This is the Bottom of the Bottle podcast. I'm your boy, JayyyWalkinthaThird. You got my brother over there, Carolina Dirt 803. And down at the bottom, man, look. In the history of the Black Lexicon, you got to know this man. You feel me? James Talent Harris, superstar comedian, philanthropist, overall businessman, movie star. I can't say enough, man. Welcome, Mr. James Talent Harris, to the bottom of the bottom.
Listen, man, it's good to be here. I like the tunes, baby.
Oh, man, look. That's what it is, man. Look, we just some young men trying to do something, you know, to build something, to not do the regular thing that black men get known to do. So, again, I can't say enough how much I appreciate you being here.
Oh, man, listen, the pleasure's all mine. First of all, proud of you guys doing what you do. You know what I mean? Being productive and doing your part, man, to push us forward. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, look. That's what it's all about. You want to introduce yourself to the people, Carolina? Tell them what's going on?
Oh, y'all already know what it is.
Man. It is the boy.
What up, player? What up, man? I've been going back and forth with you for about 2 days.
Man, look, we gonna start this thing off. We start this thing off with what we call first call. Just some quick questions. They ain't no right or wrong answer. Just kind of let people know about you without letting them know too much about you until you want to tell them about you. So, this is the first call. I'm starting off. This is some special shit for me. We're going to go back a little bit. My first question, Mazda MPV at the time or Nissan Pathfinder? As a young man, hitting the streets.
Speaking in the streets of New York, I got to go with the MPV.
Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. I've been watching the movie. I can dig it. So, classic wheat Tims or Wallabies?
Oh, classic wheat.
Okay.
Classic, bro. Like, we repping the hood, right? We repping the hood. Yeah, so, you know, you only got the Wallabies because eventually you had to go to a job interview.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I like it. So, you a young man, Video Music Box versus Donnie Simpson and Video Soul.
That was a good question right there. This should turn into an SAT. I'm going to have to go with Video Music Box. Damn, that's close, though. That's close. But I would go with Video Music Box.
Donnie Simpson, an icon. I get it. I get the struggle.
No. I mean, the struggle is one person broke iconic records and one person kind of played iconic records. Okay. Like you didn't, they broke very few records on Video Soul, but on Video Music Box, they always broke records.
That's dope. That's dope. Crush Groove or Beat Street?
I got to go with Crush Groove.
Okay.
Now that's a close one. You know, Beat Street. I said Ramon.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But Crush Groove, you know what put him over the top? B Street was more boots to the ground, rough, rugged, and raw, but Crush Groove was more star-studded.
Right.
They grabbed everybody who had just become a star. We was high on the new LL. We was high on the Fat Boys already, Run DMC. So Chilla E. It was star-studded.
Star-studded. More nervous to perform at the Apollo or Def Comedy Jam?
Oh, the Apollo. That's not even close. Like the Apollo. Let me tell you something. I'm glad you asked that question because that's going to spawn a story. Okay. My first television taping was the Apollo. And the Apollo reputation puts the fear of God in your ass so hard, that even though I got a standing ovation, I still was scared and shaking backstage of the Apollo for another hour after I got a standing ovation. That's how scary that is.
And
I had a good night.
Right.
And you wouldn't know that if you walk down behind the back of the building, 126th Street, and see me sitting on that stoop. you'd have been like, "What happened to you, young man?"
So you sitting there like you trying to use the bathroom.
Yes, I'm sitting there. I'll never forget. You got to realize that was I never taped TV before, and the Apollo already evoked so much fear and emotion in me. So I had to keep souping myself up that day. Let me give you paint the picture. On the run of show, it was comedian Derek Ellis, who's out of Texas. Then it was MC Light performing Roughneck, and then it was Talent, right? So I kept telling myself, I'm going to be in a good place because after MC Light tear it up, the crowd's going to be in a good mood.
Real.
So I'm going to have a chance. All I need is a chance. I'm sitting backstage. They throw Derek Ellis out. They boo his ass. So the producers got to go out there and calm the crowd down. Like, listen, y'all can't boo him. He's a guest. He's not an amateur. We're going to try it again. They bring him back out. This is Harlem. This is New York. They don't give a damn. They boo his ass again. Double boo. And now my nerves are building up even worse. You know, I'm about to literally shit on myself. So I'm like, oh. But I'm like, T, calm down. MC Light going to fix all that. I hear the guy in the walkie-talkie go, okay, bring MC Light down. And the answer came back on the speaker. Was like, she's not ready. She needs 20 more minutes of makeup. So the talent do that. I'm like, what?
Oh.
Like right after double boo? So I go out there. That's how the phrase was invented. Don't take it personal. It's just comedy. Because I had to say something in defense up front because they just booed the comedian. I don't want them to be in that zone like, oh, let's boo another one. So I was like, listen, tell you right now, I got one rule. Don't take nothing I say personal. You know, it's just comedy, whatever. And I went on, did 6 minutes, 7 minutes. They stood up, stand ovation, clapped me. If you look at that old tape, my little young face looking up like, oh my God. And I went out back and sat on the stoop and still shake for another hour. While I'm sitting there, Joe, because this is when Joe came out too. Joe is out there practicing his steps with his dancers. And he's just break practice and come over to me and he's like, yo, you're a funny dude, man. Appreciate you rock that. And then went back to practicing. And I'm like, I'll never forget that.
That's crazy. You can't forget that. That's an iconic moment. Like at the moment, I ain't even gonna do that. So it's always 2 parts to first call. My brother got 5 for you. Let's shoot them off real quick.
All right, you rather have it barbecue, fried, or baked?
Fried.
Fried. All right, so a stand-up special. As a viewer, would you rather be there or watch it at home so you can hear all the jokes?
I like to be live. Nothing like live. I tell people about comedy all the time. If you think I'm funny through the television or YouTube or something like that, come see me live. It's a different world.
That's with edits, right? They don't
you know
catch the good always.
Yes, yeah. TV, you can't. When you're watching something recorded or satellite or whatever, you can't pick up that energy. That live energy is something special.
Okay, so you rather have a small nightclub or auditorium?
The comedy is naturally built for intimate settings, so the more intimate, the better.
All right, and the last one, the movie The Warriors. What gang would you be in?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
And really not. I played Butter in Sunset Park, so Butter is the ladies' man. So I'm gonna be Ajax handcuffed to the bench in Central Park, trying to pick up the lady cop.
Oh shit! Perfect answer.
Oh, that would have been me. I was like, yo, Shorty, what you doing out here, baby? Click. Get this on me.
Oh man, that's crazy.
All right, that was first call.
That was first call, man. Hey man, check this out. So I've been, kind of checking everything out. The New York Kings of Comedy.
Yes.
I understand that was your idea. Y'all officially been on. This is what, the 5th year?
Well, no, it's longer than that. It's from the original start. This is the 21st year. Wow. And it's funny. That's the whole thing about reinvention, right? First of all, I'm not going to take credit for the idea. It was kind of a collective thought that was brought up by my comedian friend, my brother Gerald Kelly. and then we all just sat down like a conference, sort of like NATO or something. So we sat down and thought of it because at the time in the tri-state, New York tri-state, everything comedy was ran or hosted by one of us 5 brothers. You had Gerald Kelly, you had Drew Frazier, you had Rob Stapleton, you had Capone, and you had myself. And the idea was, hey man, every week we're bringing out hundreds of people each in our rooms. We can, promote one big get together, one show, all of us on one show, rent out a place like the Apollo, sell out 1,500 seats. I think we can do it. So I don't think in the beginning we looked at it like, oh, we're gonna run with it and it was gonna be what it turned into. We were really, our first task was, could we sell out the Apollo?
Right.
So we brought the idea to the Apollo. The Apollo, being smarter business people than us at the time, so yeah, that is a good idea. We give you $10,000. And so now you young, right? And you ain't no business person. You like, I'm gonna take the guaranteed money. Yeah, I'm gonna take the guaranteed check. Hey guys, that's $2,000 a piece. So that's as far as our math skills went. That's $2,000 a piece.
I need it now.
So they sold this thing out, $40, $50, $60 a ticket. So imagine what they made, right? So after we seen it sell out, that's when the light bulb went off like, yo, A, we got something. B, we need to start doing better deals and making this thing work. And that was my birthday, May 9th. Actually, it was the day before, May 8th, the year 2000. I got the poster framed on my wall in my office. So fast forward, we split up, not too long after. Then we came back. And then when we decided to come back a few years ago, now you're talking about, 5, 6 years. When we came back, we sat down, we changed some of the rules. We had, some things we didn't like, some things we wanted to tweak, some things we wanted to make better. So we was all on the same page. As we started going, people, the one thing they put in play that came to bite people in the ass was, it was like, T, you got the rights to the name and the overall control. We don't like that. We want to be able to, we want a democracy. We want to be able to vote on stuff. We don't want you to just come in there and go, I don't like it. So I was like this. I'm the easiest guy in the world to work with. I'm like, all right. So now you got the voting system, and the 2 of the guys that was down originally got their ass voted out.
That's crazy.
So what you brought in, and you know what I mean? The system you put in place got you out of there. So Gerald was gone first. Then you fast forward another couple of years, Drew Frazier was gone. We replaced Gerald with Mark Vieira.
Right. Go into who's on the show.
Now the New York Kings consist of Capone still there, Rob still there, Talent still there, and the new addition is Mark Vieira. And instead of the original 5, we felt comfortable with the 4. 2 things that happened with that is we didn't have to rush as much. Now instead of people having 15 minutes of time, they got 25 minutes.
Right.
And on top of that, we added an element we didn't have. We added some diversity with the Hispanic community through Mark Vieira by adding him. And he's a beast. You know what I mean? So that took it to another level. We went from 5 to 4. And then with losing that spot, 2 things happened. Again, we got more time to play with as individuals. And we were able to offer an open and act spot as we go city to city. We just left Greensboro, North Carolina. So we take a young brother who's a local there, who's been putting in that work. You go up there, man, 10 minutes, open up the night. Just like if you go see like a music artist, Anita Baker, or Patti LaBelle, they'll have somebody open for them.
Somebody
now we can do that, and that's dope because now somebody gets a chance to open up and perform in some of these big crowds. It's nice.
That's what's up.
Let me take it back. So how do you feel about? Do you think Snaps get enough credit? Because
Uptown Comedy.
Uptown Comedy, but the section was Snaps.
Right.
So how you feel about that and Wild 'N Out?
Well, I think that I think 2 things. I think first of all, Snapchat in its own adventure is immaculate because, like you said, it was a component of a show that got its own specials on HBO. Now the problem is the driving force behind Snaps passed away, and that's my boy Monteria Ivy. Monteria Ivy was the host of the Uptown and he took that component. He wrote about 6, 7 books. He put 2, 3 CDs and comedy albums out, snaps, and then he did the HBO specials. But he fell ill, and he died way before his time. So whenever that driving force is gone, you need that person who owns it and that driving force to keep it going. Because I'm sure Monty would have been living all these years. He would have seen all of these variations of what he did, and he would have just kept innovating his own thing. And because he had the original, he would have been killing.
Right. And that's what, like, you come up in an era where, like, now everybody's fighting for, and they probably were then too, of course. You fighting for diversity. You fighting to see yourself represented in media. Like when you turn on the TV, when you buy products and things like that. Like y'all came up, Def Comedy Jam, Martin, like the 90s. How did it feel to be like, as a older man looking back at it? How do you feel about that period when you go through your memory?
Oh, I feel just like hip hop. We had the best time. Right. We had the classic time. I mean, I don't even have to tell anybody. Anybody that watched the two and put them up next to each other, it's like you can't even compare, bro. It was a great time for so much stuff. Even though we had, like, competition will always be there. It's healthy. Right. You know, competition is healthy. It drives people. But we had a hybrid of competition and at the same time the cohesiveness and respect of each other. Like take something like Def Jam, for instance. Every time a TV taping came about, it was like a comedian family reunion for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was like they say, oh, we're taping Def Jam from the 20th to the 27th. Every comedian all over this country and some a little bit out of the country would converge wherever that set was. Right. And you could see everybody day by day. When I went to LA to do the All-Star Def Comedy Jam, I'm seeing my buddy Sad, I'm seeing my sister some more, I'm seeing Maestro, I'm seeing JB Smooth, you know, I'm seeing Ricky Harris, God bless the dead, Yvette Wilson, God bless the dead. Like, you know what I mean? I'm Angela Means, I'm seeing everybody. It's nothing to be in the room. Like, even when we went back to do Def Jam 25, just to be in a room with everybody, that was the biggest reunion we've ever had. We're up on the stage, it's Chappelle, it's Harvey, it's Mark Curry, it's me, it's Eddie Griffin, it's Tracy Morgan. You don't get no bigger and better than that. And what the funny thing is, all those millions of dollars on stage, you didn't feel it. All you felt was everybody remembering the history of our camaraderie.
Right.
So you up there, everybody, you got $10, Steve got 10 million, it didn't matter. How you been, man? What's up? How's your mother? Your crazy cousin? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because our endeavors may have made us do this, but up here and in here, in the heart, we still here. So every time we get together, it go right back, like a frat.
Yeah. That's what's up. But you had to be ready for that anyway, man. You from Mount Vernon. Mm-hmm. And for the people that may watch this that don't know about Mount Vernon, you got Talent, you got Heavy D, you got Pete Rock, man, it's so you got what, Diddy, you got like,
bruh, it's so it's you know what's crazy? It's a lot when you think about who you know, but when I add on the ones you don't know, you start scratching your head like, because this town is only 4 square miles. Let me paint the picture. This is how small this town called Mount Vernon is. As soon as you leave the Bronx, the border of the Bronx, you are in Mount Vernon. That's how close it is. We're literally, we call ourselves, like the little Bronx or whatever. But people know Heavy D. People know Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Albie Shore, and those cats. But what people don't know is we have so many people in sports. We have a championship ring in every sport. That's how many people we put in sports. Then people don't know Art Carney, Dick Clark, Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos. People don't know DMX is born in Mount Vernon. Like, it's so much Mount Vernon. We can go into the Felicia Rashads. We could go into, you know what I mean? Like, it's so deep. The Denzel Washingtons. You know what I mean? Like, we got so much. And even today, it's not stopping. You know what I mean? But it's so many people, bro. Like, I put a meme up the other day, like a week ago, with I think it was maybe 10 of us.
Yeah.
And I knew when I put it up, I wrote in my caption, it's too many to fit on here, so don't come at me, because I know people that know the history was going to come at me, and they came anyway. What about my man Peebo? What about Ray Ray? I was like, all right, man.
You said they was legends, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, but it's impossible. And that's how many people. It's impossible to do it without missing people. We got boxers. We got the NBA alone. You're talking about probably 20 of those guys.
Right.
You know, NFL. You're probably talking about another dozen.
What is it about that town, though? What do you think it is about that town?
Well, I think I like to put it to the analogy of crabs in a barrel. You ever open a barrel of crabs, bro?
We from South Carolina.
See how they trying to get out of there? That's my word. The only difference is, back then when we started to make stars, we knew the recipe. We looked, all it took was one in each genre, and we could see the recipe. And what's missing in today's recipe for success is patience. Back then, people, I always tell the story, it's hilarious. Like back then, when Heavy D and them was doing their thing, Albie Shore wasn't even a singer. He was trying to be a rapper. And
that would have turned the world upside down. He would have been the first Drake.
You would go to Eddie F's studio in his house, and you would see Albie Shore pressing record and pause on the 4-track and 8-track, while Hev and Cool G Rap was in that studio, and CL Smooth, and all the cats that came in, Groove Beat Chill, everybody from Uptown Records had to come through Eddie F's house. Eddie F was the #1 producer.
Right.
So everybody who was trying to be hot at that time, from Jodeci, you know what I mean, Father MC, everybody had to come through that studio. And then when Al finally changed and was like, you know what, they said, no, Al, you do this. We already doing that, and got him to do the R&B thing. I remember a couple of times I'm in the garage studio pressing the record and pause for Albie Shore. But my point is, people had the patience to play that role to get to that role. And that's what's missing today. Like everybody I call it microwave days. Everybody want to hit 2 minutes on the microwave and eat.
Right.
But they know that shit don't taste good.
It tastes terrible. You're just eating radiation.
That's it.
So how you feel? I heard Marlon saying, being a comedian, people need to understand there's a difference between being a comic and understanding the media.
Yeah,
as far
comedian
as
and comic are two different things.
Correct.
You can learn to be a comic. You can't learn to be a comedian. Comedians are the naturals. Comedians are the Richard Pryors, the Eddie Murphys, the Chappelles, those guys, the JV Smooths, those guys that it's naturally in their bloodline. Like their bloodstream, we can grab a mic. Any real comedian can grab a mic without a plan. And by the time he's done, you think oh my God, that was great. When did you put that together? When did you write that? He ain't write none of this.
Right.
But he's going off his natural ability. Like I just had an interview with my buddy Rocco, who's a comedian, Italian comedian out of Philadelphia. And I told him that because we were talking about with the pandemic, we feel a little off and then you got to get your feet back under you. And I was like, yeah, but you're like me, Rocco. You're a natural, so you may not get your time and joke per se where you want it for a while, but you can still be better than the most of them because with your natural ability. Yeah.
Your riff is better than most people's playing.
Exactly. A lot of people, comics, it's like any other job. They get the how-to comedy books. They go to the club, they look at you, they study you, and they mimic you. There's nothing natural about that.
Right.
That's why it takes you a while in comedy to find yourself. Because when you first grab a mic, you mimic what you think it to be. And then you evolve into what you are.
Do you watch your stuff playback?
I don't like
Gary
to.
Owens. Yeah. You don't like
I don't
it?
like to. No, because you are, well, you should be. You're your own worst critic. And if you watch yourself and play it back, you're going to always nitpick your stuff and keep changing stuff instead of following a natural path. You know what it's like? My favorite TV shows, you know how they become not my favorite? When I watch the next season and the characters look totally different. Like this dude lost 200 pounds.
Right.
I like the fat guy.
Right.
But he's watching himself. I don't like that. And he's doing things to himself physically because he's picking himself apart. So me, the viewer, it's not resonating the same with me.
That's real.
All of our big girls in Hollywood and entertainment, we love them as big girls. And then they go through a metamorphosis. And no disrespect to them because some of this stuff is health. I get it. But for you from the outside looking in, it don't hit the same.
It don't. You remember Natalie Desselle?
Yes.
I was so in love with that lady. Big or not, like
right.
she was just beautiful. So I get the point that you're making. Like you created something based on yourself, and then you changed yourself, and you don't know how that affects the universe around you in terms of what you're putting out. So
I had this conversation the other day about and it wasn't to this fact, but it was along the lines of people cutting themselves up with the plastic surgery and changing their appearance and all that. I think what happens is this is deeper than what we know. I think this goes back to the conditioning on people of color. Black people have been demeaned for such a long time that I don't think we recognize how much we need each other to tell us how we feel about each other in real time. So, like, for example, you look at a little Kim, right? The general consensus is like, damn, why'd she do that? She was already beautiful. But if you go back to those days where Kim was beautiful, if nobody kept telling her, girl, you beautiful, if she never heard it or not heard it enough, over time, she may have insecurities that cause her to try to fix herself.
For sure.
We need each other. That's the thing. Black people have become the epitome of cool that we too damn cool.
Yeah, we is.
We so cool, we too cool to say to the brother, hey man, I like your swag, player. So if nobody say that to him, in 5 years, you see a different swag. Boom, now he little Nas X.
Oh, Lord.
We need that perspective, though. I'm so glad you said that. People get upset about everybody else. They get upset about opinions, man. And I don't like how sensitive the world is, man. I came up fat and black. I am who I am because I got picked on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I survived the world as an adult black man from that. Like, some people, like, let's not call everything trauma. You know what I'm saying? Everything ain't trauma. Some shit just kind of is what it is.
It's the Me Too movement.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. That's part of it.
He ain't there yet. He trying to get us canceled already.
That's part. I mean, that's part of. Here's the thing with a lot of things are dope in theory, but when they play out, they miss that. The Me Too movement to me is excellent in theory,
right?
But the way it's playing out, in the long run, is going to do more harm than help. And I mean that in more ways than one. It's going to be to the detriment of the people who really need it to work for them, because now you're nitpicking every little thing that's not under that umbrella. So we already know what happens to the boy that cried wolf. So that's one side of that's going to happen. The other flip side of it, you're going to shell shock the male genitalia so bad that these women are going to have no man to talk to.
Man, say that.
Somebody said something real deep the other day. When it comes to the gay shit, somebody said, why is everything else an ism? And when, if you don't like your color is racist. You're against the woman, it's sexist. You say something about the Jews, it's anti-Semitism. But the minute you don't like gay stuff, you're homophobic. Why is everything else an ism? And that's a phobia.
That's crazy. And, hey, look, man, you didn't see my hat come up a little bit. You almost blew my head off. you almost blew my head off, cuz.
No,
Hey,
when I
look.
heard that, I was like, wow.
Yeah, man, that's nuts. Brother, we said we wasn't going to keep you long, man. We've been on here about 30 minutes. We're going to go into the last call. You know what I'm saying? Last call is just kind of our thoughts in the media, you know, our thoughts in our minds that we want to let the public know. So besides telling everybody, you know, what shows you got coming up, social media handles, whatever you want to tell the people, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying something we talked about along the lines of comic versus comedian. This is where you'll see the difference. We're talking about the world changing and being super sensitive and can't do this, and this is a trauma, and this is a phobia and all that. The difference in the comic and the comedian is the comic, he's going to adhere to these new rules. Mm-hmm. Us comedians, you're still going to hear faggot. I got a joke about that where, you know, when I say it, because I say it and I know it's wrong, supposedly to say it, and then I say, but the old guys, the old school people in the audience, I said, but you smiling, you want me to say it again.
Right.
Because they ain't heard it in so long. Say it again. Say it again. So that's along the lines of the comic and the comedian. The whole definition of being a comedian is to test and go against the grain, to challenge the norm, to challenge the powers that be, to say, well, why is that? And why do I have to do that? And who said? And where is it written? And this is asinine. And kiss my ass on that. And I don't believe in that. And I don't believe you need more people. So as you go forward, everybody out there, and you watch your comedy, and you go to your shows, and you support your favorite comedians out there, continue to do that. But keep that in your mind. If this guy goes up there, and he does what everybody want him to do, instead of what he wanted to do, you got yourself a robot, a.k.a. the Manchurian candidate.
That's a throwback.
What's your IG? Where can they find
my Instagram is, my tag is Talent the Comedian with a DA. Talent the Comedian.
All right. Next shows? Next couple shows?
Where I'm at. So I'm in OKC right now. Tomorrow night, Monday, I'm with my man Black Ron here in OKC for his Monday night special show he does. This Wednesday, I'll be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, doing Weekend Wednesdays at XL Live. Is a stupid show. Me, Rodney Perry, Damon Williams. This is going to be dope because it's all comedians.
Right.
So it's myself, Rodney Perry, Damon Williams, doing our thing in Harrisburg. Thursday, I'm in South Jersey with my man Will Wright, Chanel, Renee. And then Sunday, I'm at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick with my man Brian Hooks, the movie star, the black movie star.
Yeah.
I think Brian Hooks got more movies than Denzel.
Okay. Look, this has been a profound pleasure, man. Like I said, I've been watching comedy my entire life. You got comics, you got comedians, and you are definitely a comedian. You've been out here for 30 years doing this shit and like killing it. So I appreciate you. Carolina, take us up out of here, man.
No, I just want y'all to know that laughter is also part of mental health. You need some of it in life.
That's it, man. Look.
Salute to Kings, brother.
We thank y'all for tuning in to the Bottom of the Bottle Show. Hold tight for us real quick, T. We'll be right back.
Yes, sir. All right.